Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hi, welcome.
Welcome. I see people joining. Yes, more and more people. Welcome to our HaiStudy. So as I see more people join, I guess it's the right time to start. Hello, everyone. Hi. Today, we would like to present our first success story with HaiPick. Together with me, I am lucky to have my co-host, Stefano.
Hi everyone. I'm pleased to be here, Anna, once more.
And I'm Anna, Channel Marketing here at HiRobotics, and I'll be the host for today. And let's start. So the webinar is a HaiStudy about HaiPick, and it's a success story. So the first success story in Europe. And as you know, in February, we had a lot talking about HaiPick and its launch, and we proudly, it was a big event from Japan to the US. My colleagues introduced HaiPick through entire intralogistics world, I would say. So everyone was well aware about the visual part of it because my colleagues were virtually introducing it. But more than that, we stepped out of the virtual zone and we brought HaiPick to life. And from Stuttgart to Seoul, also to Promet and Seattle in France, we have shown HaiPick. We had a lot of interest, which was great to see people approaching, asking questions, asking about how the technology fits into the market. And what was more impressive to us to see is that actually the entire industry was talking about it, highlighting not only the key features of simplified efficiency that we are carrying together with HaiPick, but also putting in the spotlight how this technology finds a perfect fit in the market. And to me, it was a real proud moment to read it through. What I wanted to ask you, Stefano, where is the buzz going? Why our technology finds such a perfect fit in the market?
That's a very good opening question, Anna. Thank you for that. So let's put it this way. We see an increasing attention in the market towards flexible solutions, scalable solutions, which are more and more in the need of answering to customer demands and adapt to their operations, logistically speaking, rather than the opposite, rather than having their logistic operations adapting to the technology. And this was always our vision at HaiRobotics. We were pioneers in ACR systems, capable of handling multiple types of cartons and totes and trays. This new launch is one more addition to this portfolio. And we see independent voices in the market. Like here, we see an extract of an independent report by Stick Intelligence saying that there's an increasing demand, a shift towards solutions which are flexible, scalable, able to handle multiple order types, multiple product types, and to basically keep up with changing demands of the markets. So this is why this is so relevant, and it is why what always has fueled our vision at HaiRobotics.
That's beautiful how our vision, since the very foundation of HaiRobotics, transforms into the products that we launch. And after we launch them, we already have the results. And to be fair, I am very proudly saying that we already have 12 projects that are implemented worldwide in 3 continents and 8 countries. More than 1,700 robots are already or being deployed or in process of the deployment, and 1.2 million storage locations.
Yes.
That's exactly enough to store my clothes, I guess. What is more important, that these are 12 stories. These are transformational warehouse stories, not just bare projects. And I'm super proud to introduce our HaiStudy, our case study for today. So we have on the plate today our partner, a very loyal partner with whom we already have more than 40 projects. This is a big retail company specializing in e-commerce.
That's right.
And now they, together with us, build a greenfield with the HaiPick climb in Poland to serve Eastern European market, isn't it?
Absolutely right. This case is especially relevant, first of all, because it's the first European project. Now, the numbers that you mentioned in just a short time since February, they're just stunning. They are just the proof that there is a very quick adoption from the market. It's like water in the desert, seems like that. And the comment you made about the greenfield side makes this especially interesting. And one remark I would like to make here is that normally you have really to plan for automation because you need to make sure that your building is ready and prepared for it. In our case, our vision is to make automation possible virtually for all warehouses, so not only greenfield but also brownfields. And in this case, it was a greenfield site, but it was possible to deploy it without making any special crazy adjustments to the floor quality, for example, the build of the floor quality, because we feel that the philosophy should always stay the same, like make automation possible to be deployed and adapt to the conditions on site and not the opposite. And well, in this case, the project you mentioned, it's a retailer, an online retailer. They're active in different sectors. Grocery is one of the main ones, but they also have other line of businesses like electronics or daily use products. So that is one of the challenges that we're facing. So industry-wise, the challenges is with such a broad variety of product offering, their demand seasonally changes over time. Their SKUs are growing over time, and they need future-proof scalability needs, but they know they have expectations that they will grow. In which direction? They don't know. And because they have such a diverse business that they can grow, but they don't know when and where. So they need to rely on a technology. They needed to have that peace of mind that the technological companion to go through this journey would allow them to keep growing and not be one more pain in the growth journey, you know. So these are the industry challenges to keep the brand reputation that they have gained in the market. So let's say this is the challenges of the company that they had facing customers, but facing inside operations, they had operational challenges like keeping the pace of the growing business without relying so much on manual operations that, first of all, they are submitted to a higher rate of errors, which means failing at providing customer the satisfaction that they want. It means poor real-time inventory visibility. So it makes maybe letting the customer order something that you don't have in stock and disappointment when you don't receive it. And which is in the end inefficient when you grow the business. There's some manual can only bring you so far. And of course, you want to keep your finance department happy. So you're facing limited space, increasing rental cost and operational costs, and also relying a lot on manual workforce means that you have lots of cost on one hand, and then when that workforce will rotate, because eventually you will need to rotate the workforce, they will leave and you have to hire more people, you will need to train them. So this is also an additional cost that is sometimes overlooked. So these were the operational challenges that we were facing.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And then HaiPick Climb could face all these challenges and become a solution for the customer.
Absolutely.
Let's dive into the solution. I want to see it.
Looking a little bit more at the hard numbers, the deployment is carried out over 4,000 square meters, up to 10 meters of height, so maximizing that verticality that they had available in the warehouse. More than 1,000 store locations, as mentioned, and supporting more than 15,000 SKUs and growing, as mentioned, in the grocery, electronics, and daily use products. So with a very big variety of assortment within the portfolio.
That's beautiful. And also in terms of the robotics, like what did we provide? What was the
Yeah. Yeah. So since they needed to deal with a throughput, as mentioned, of 190 toes per hour of inbound and almost 1,500, 1,440 totes per hour of outbound, well, the technological answer to this was to provide 65 robots, 22 chargers, a rack as mentioned as up to 10 meters. We were able to standardize the load handling unit, in this case 650 by 450 by 300 millimeters totes, external dimensions up to 30 kilograms. 6 workstations, 8 for inbound and 8 for outbound. So 14 people operating the system at any given time, which testifies to the little reliance on human labor, and all integrated through our black box software solution, meaning that we provided a software to comply with the logistical processes that they needed to handle in the warehouse.
Okay, so this is all a very technical side of it. And how does the benefit rolls out for the customers?
Right.
How do I see it if
Yeah.
I am the customer?
So one of the main advantages of this was the enhanced customer experience. So that brand wanted to keep their positioning quite high. They have gained their seat in the first row of being an e-commerce retailer. Well, they wanted their customers to receive their orders quickly, so they had to improve the outbound efficiency. This is important because then they are able to commit to deliver to do the next day deliveries. This is why it's so important. In this case, leveraging the fact that we were providing the software, we were able to find efficiencies. In this case here, we're saying that we were able to group the orders together to be prepared so that when our system was presenting the tote with the product to be picked, we could pick that product for multiple orders at once. So minimizing the machine workload, maximizing the output for the customer. So higher picking accuracy is another of the advantages, so that customers receiving incorrect orders is one of the capital sins in e-commerce in general, and especially when you have a strong focus on grocery. And then you have real-time inventory control, so you know exactly what you have available for sale at any given moment. So this is the story related to how the customer makes their customers happy.
That's beautiful. I love how that optimized and well optimized. And when we turn to the next challenge, that was the costs. How do we face that?
Yeah. So you want to keep the finance people happy always. And here we, at the same time as we were providing a way to store that amount of SKUs, which in the end is still increasing the customer experience, improving the customer experience. You make the customer you allow the customer to choose from a big variety of SKUs, but you need somewhere where to put them. That's the customer side. But the internal side, it was necessary for them to maximize storage efficiency, to keep the footprint low, therefore the rental cost of the building low. In this case, we were able to store 100,000 storage locations in 4,000 square meters, up to 10 meters of height, supporting 15,000 up to 20,000 SKUs in the future. So real estates do not scale as the system grows, do not scale dramatically, and we keep the labor cost low. Again, the struggle is not to not hire people, but it's to find people, labor shortages, and then train those people. And if you have a much more simple system, much simpler system to operate, where the people can be trained in a matter of days instead of weeks, then your cost and your efficiency really goes very high.
Do I understand it correct? As you mentioned, the finance department is happy, meaning there is, let's say, a surplus of finance part that they can reinvest back into the business. So getting not just the ROIs, but also the possibilities for future growth.
Absolutely. One of the key factors here is that they knew that they were going to grow, not sure in which directions, as mentioned, and therefore they can start with phase one with the needs of today or maybe tomorrow, but for the next needs of a little bit more distant future, they can see how the business goes and decide in which direction to evolve. They know that it will be coming, and actually the savings generated by the first deployment can be reinvested for future expansions, as we can see here. We already have a plan for our modular design to be expanded from phase one that we see here to more than triple the storage locations, to more than triple the throughput as well. And well, so being the companion that the business wants for its expansion. And yeah, so you can see here that that is the actual layout that we plan to expand in the future.
Okay, do they expand? So as soon as the expansion is happening, do they just turn on the entire area of the that was added on?
That is definitely a possibility, but not the only one, meaning that if growth doesn't happen as expected, they can activate the plan in multiple phases. Normally, the plans are in 2 or 3 phases after the first one, but yeah, that can be adjusted as the growth happens.
Okay, thank you. And yes, this is the entire story behind it. However, I'm still wondering, as we launched the product, we saw it resonating. Why high robotics? Why HaiPick climb is the perfect solution?
That's a good question. So the first thing I would highlight here is that we have a long history with this customer, more than 40 successful projects launched with them. It is a journey where we have proven to be the right partner for them project after project. So this was, of course, one very good advocate in our case. And we deliver consistently what we promised. So this is why high robotics. It was almost a natural choice. Why HaiPick Climb? Because as mentioned, we have in our offering different solutions that can deal with different needs. This one proven quite effective in this specific case because it provides what we call simplified efficiency, which means the system is simple to install, deploy, and expand. It's responsive, highly responsive to changes. Products are highly accessible, so meaning that if your customer demands change overnight, B2B, B2C, we can deal with them. We are quite responsive to that. And in the end, this provided the best cost efficiency for the customer that was, in this case, was meant to operate the system.
Cost efficiency. We talk about cost the entire webinar. Is it because the affordability of the system?
That's one of the key aspects of it. So that's important. Let's not hide the fact. It's very important to provide an affordable system, which we do. But normally our customers look at the overall total cost of ownership. So a system has to be affordable to purchase, to maintain. Whenever you have um, a maintenance plan, in this case, the system doesn't have any single point of failure, so you can still operate the system. You limit significantly the possibility of the complete system shutting down. Actually, there's no single point of failure. It is easy to train the operators. It doesn't require a lot of adaptations on the building to make it possible. So I would say throughout the overall life cycle of the system, the total cost of ownership makes it cost efficient. Not only acquisition cost, which is a very big important part of it, but the overall cost is reduced, and in the end, it proves to have a positive return on investment.
Wow, thank you, Stefano. It was yeah, thank you so much for such a detailed dive in to our first project at HaiPick Climb. Great, and I loved how actually indeed the speed of the project, how fast the product itself, HaiPick Climb, found its place in more than 12 projects.
Yeah.
That looks great, and 12 projects, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Don't we have something to tell about some other projects that
Yeah.
we're...
We have a little teaser here about more case studies which are going to be released in the future. So if you follow us on LinkedIn, you will be able to see it. So here we wanted to highlight that the first one we just presented was about the first project in Europe. Now, this sportswear company, Anta, is another project, different continent in China, different sector, sportswear, but still the same technology was relevant to them. A slightly bigger installation here, almost 7,000 square meters, 125 robots, so double than what we did in this European project, and an implementation as short as 6 months. sorry, 3 months. So here we can see that some challenges are common across industries, across geographical regions, across continents. There are common challenges. There are individual challenges of different sectors like sportswear, like grocery, e-commerce. And I would say that our solution portfolio, HaiPick Climb being one of the solutions in this portfolio, proved to be resilient and a good solution towards multiple type of challenges.
And industries.
Absolutely.
That's thank you so much. Thank you so much for going through it. And I guess it's the right time to go to the Q&A.
Yes.
And I saw already some questions popping. So will you be showing where is the first one?
So
what is the tote presentations for the picking workstation?
That's a very good question. We do have multiple types of workstations with different benefits and ergonomics. So we have workstations that can go up to 600 toads per hour in terms of productivity. In this case, since we were picking multiple lines and multiple objects per toad presentation, then the operator itself was the bottleneck. So we didn't need that high of a throughput. So in our portfolio, we have workstations from 100 toads per hour up to 600 toads per hour. Anything in the range can be handled. So according to the specific type of picking, ergonomics, size, and weight of the objects, we would need to see what is the best fit.
And the next question would be, Stefano, do you see? Because
Yeah. What are the pros and cons of the HaiPick Climb versus HaiPick System 3? Key factors to consider when choosing between these two technologies? That's a very, very interesting question. So HaiPick System 3 provides a range of load handling units that can be handled, ranging from small goods, so a carton of 300 by 300, up to a carton of 850 by 650. And I'm talking about cartons, but I'm talking also about trays, about totes. So there's a broader range of loads that can be handled with that technology. Now, if we go to HaiPick Climb, it's a new release. So we started with a standardized tote. So I would say that is the main difference. There are other little nuances and subtle differences that we could investigate as well. But let's say HaiPick 3 has a broader range of load handling units. HaiPick Climb has a higher throughput, which can be reached. So normally when we approach a case, we do an initial interview and we try to understand what is more important. Is it important to achieve high throughput, storage density, maximize the flexibility because the products that can be received can change in the future. And based on that, we investigate what is the best solution possible. But thank you for the question. It's a very interesting one. Okay. What are the floor requirements? Very good one. We have documentation available on the floor requirements. We follow standardized ways of providing technical requirements in terms of floor. We call it floor regularity, which is floor flatness, but not only that, we need to ensure that there is the right friction coefficient, the right strength on the floor to withstand the weight of the robots. But in general, I have to say, based on what we see on the market of what is being constructed and what are the warehouses, it's very, very hardly the floors need heavy adjustments to be suitable for our robots to run. Normally, there's no adjustments needed or very little ones, but we have the documentation available. So normally, when the case comes and when the opportunity arises, we can share those documentation. What is the maximum height? Is the maximum height 10 meters or can it go up to 12? Well, all of our systems, maybe with one slight exception, but normally almost all of our system can reach up to 12 meters. And in some cases, that is what we have standardized, but in the case of HaiPick Climb, is not even a hard limitation, meaning we could go higher, but we could cover probably 95% of our sweet spot market with 12 meters. So that's where our sweet spot are. But normally it's good to cover most of the opportunities. But 12 meters it's our limiter, our standard definition. Is the climb also able to handle 800 by 600 millimeter totes? At the moment, it is standardized for 650 by 450 totes, but I note down that question and I will bring it to the R&D department. But for now, 800 by 600 are handled with the HaiPick 3 system. Can it be used for full cartons, not only individual items or SKUs? At the moment, full cartons can be handled as well, just being put on top of a tray because of the handling mechanism of the robot. It's meant to work in combination with a specifically patented design tote. So at this moment, cartons can be handled, yes, on top of a tray. So you don't need to do the actual decanting of the items, but you standardize the support that is transporting those cartons. So cartons directly without any kind of support of plastic still in HaiPick System 3.
I guess it's time for the last one, so
Oh,
that
yes,
we also
you're right.
wrap it up.
Yeah. Why do you use conveyor technology for the order picking workstation at Anta? Well, in that case, in the different conversations that we had between our design engineers and the customer itself, that was the preferred configuration. But I would say it's not a mandatory setup, meaning that orders can also be handled through our AMRs. So we can evacuate order totes or cartons with our own AMRs and deliver them, for example, to shipping lanes or a sorter or whatever. So in this specific case of Anta, it was the preferred setup of the customer after collaborating with our engineers. But we are quite flexible in what can be achieved in terms of workstation. Yeah. One more question. I'm told from the director of the show that it's one more question that we can. It only works with black box integration. Can we also do white box or gray box? Yeah, absolutely. Somebody has done the homework. Thank you for the question. No, we are not mandatorily doing black box. So for the listeners who are maybe not familiar with it, black box means that Hai software is running the whole show, controlling SKUs, orders, and fleet. In gray or white box integration, our software only cares about fleet management, and then we collaborate with partners that provide order management and SKU management. So we can work in different setups, but always making sure that for the operating user, that the system works as a black box. So meaning that they don't have to worry about managing the SKUs or managing the fleets or managing the orders, because the system does it as a whole system.
Thank you.
So yeah, I see there's way more questions, but we don't have the time to take them.
Yeah, I guess we always have the follow-ups on all those questions. So I hope please leave the questions if you still have some, because we will take some time after the webinar to answer all of those to you personally. But yes, it's time to say goodbye, and we're thanking everyone who joined with us. If you still haven't seen HaiPick Climb in action, I would like to genuinely invite you for the HaiPick Climb demo that we'll present in Poznan, Poland, from 3rd to 5th June. So make your plans for a Poland trip, where actually the project is at, So
Yeah.
maybe visiting both. And also visit our website, read more about HaiPick Climb, and I hope to see you in Poznan. Goodbye.
Bye.